What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Chuckfinle's Play Crash Team Racing Part 3. We're here in the Glacier Park area, beginning the snow portion of the racing season. This is the first time we will see ice, and we will experience ice in 2 of these tracks, as well as some other features that don't make it out of this section, but are still pretty difficult to get through. And this is where the racing will again be harder. The tracks will be harder to navigate just because of the different obstacles that will be around, and you can get jumped on the restart a lot more. If you've noticed, usually only one character will get a boost at the start, and this is the ice, by the way. As I said, you can lose traction very easily, so you have to be very careful. And you have to also be careful about that. Sometimes, for whatever reason, there's a glitch in that little bridge section. I believe that's a bridge you go over. That sometimes, if you lay the items down in the very middle of the track, or the very middle of the track, that whatever it is will blow up. You won't get hit by you won't get affected by this out. The only thing that you can lay behind is the beakers and the nitro crates, and those are the only things that will blow up. The nitro crates are the only things that will hurt you if they blow up because of the blast radius effect. You have to be very careful when laying it down a nitro through there. But anyway, anything else you see, it does mess them up. Yeah, as I was saying, the other racers can get a better acceleration boost at the start. They don't have to be good at acceleration to get this; they just get it anyway. So you have to be very careful about when and where you, about how you do the starts of the races. Just because you can as I said, very easily end up getting bogged down at the start and having to make up quite a bit of distance on the first lap, so you definitely want to be very careful with that. And let's see, we've already seen both of these before, so I'm going to skip this. Now, Aku won't give you any more hints after Dingo Canyon, so once you beat Dingo Canyon, you won't have to worry. If you don't like listening to the hints, you won't be able to anymore. If you like listening to the hints, well, all the hints that he gives after the races are pretty much everything you need to know about the gameplay mechanics and all that. It's pretty simple, just the basic things, and as you go along, you'll really find out more stuff about the trophies and how you unlock all the levels and all that. Well, all you have to do is just drive up to a level if you haven't unlocked it before. But anyway, so now this level incorporates the mine carts, which can crush you as well as any other player behind you, so you definitely want to be very careful. And the competitors will try a lot harder while going through here. As I said, things will be getting a lot harder, so you definitely want to be very careful and pay attention. I'll actually be surprised if anybody hits that, if they actually take that tight of a line going through there. But you have to be very careful, again, about being bogged down at the start, and you won't actually lose them quite so easily with some of these tracks that are coming up through here. Like this track doesn't have any holes and has very little speed boost pads, so you really have to rely on your ability to use the power slide to your advantage. Of course, you do have some racing lines that you can use to slow the competitors down, but not every single person will get hit by those lines or get hit by the mine carts, as you saw Pura all the way back there, and Last did. He got ran over by one of the mine carts, so that definitely slowed him down quite a bit. And you want to be careful going through here, especially if you're not using Polar or Pura. It's pretty tight going through there, so you have to be very careful about going through there. And you want to try to stay off the wall as much as possible. it's okay if you kind of bounce off of it just a little bit, but you don't want to do it too much, or that will end up hurting your lap. So you want to be very careful about doing that. And I'm actually surprised the engine is doing so well. You typically, well, most times that I've played this game, engine usually isn't the one that's doing so well. It's just recently I've played through the game before starting to do it for a Let's Play, and Pearl was the one consistently being in the top 3. He would either finish second or third, and I think 11 of the 16 tracks that are here in this game, and most of those were second place finishes, and I was like, wow, Pearl usually doesn't do that good. I mean, sure, he'll get a couple top 5s, but not consistently getting podiums every track. I was able to knock him back a few times, and the lowest he finished was 6th one track, and it was this track that he finished 6th on every other time. He always had a top 5 finish the entire season while going through all of the races. And I thought that was really weird. But anyway, so you can see the seals here, all they will do is just spin you out, so you really don't have to worry about them all that much. They're not all that bad. The biggest thing you have to worry about is all of the holes that are around here. While they do offer good opportunities to drop, to knock people down into holes, they also can catch you out, especially on that tight corner after going over those 2 jumps coming into that section. You definitely want to be very careful. The last jump there is really the best area where you can consistently knock people down. All you have to do is pretty much just lay the, and that's what the seals do, by the way. But all you have to do is pretty much just lay a nitro in the middle of the track, and somebody will usually get to it. Wow, sadly only one person got to it. If someone had hit it a little further in the pack, that would have definitely affected a lot more people. But anyway, here you want to, especially, and this only applies if you have the super speed pads on. You have to use the X button to brake in the air as you're coming onto that tight corner, or you have a very high chance of overshooting that corner and messing yourself up, so you definitely want to be very careful. That is the shortcut, by the way, going over that wall instead of going around it the slower way. And I'll see if that won't affect one person, sadly, but you can see the hole the dingo fell in. Those holes, those little mini jumps, will catch a player out for quite a while, so that's a good place to dump somebody if you want to try to lap them. If you play this on like arcade with 7 laps and you want to see how quickly you can lap people, that's definitely a very good way to do it. This is by far my most favorite track in the game, just for that fact, because it is so easy to mess with people, and the lines are pretty consistent, are consistently good while going through here, through this track, and it's actually fun to try and learn the lines so that you can mess with the other racers. But I'm hoping someone would get hit by that nitro that I laid down. Well, Polar won't get affected by that because it was only a Brio beaker, but anyway. Yeah, that's weird how Polar and Engine are doing so good. As I said, Engine usually, is lucky to get top 5, either 4th or 5th. And that's like I said, he's lucky to do that. Since you haven't seen Polar come in second before, I'll go ahead and just show what he's doing. He's supposed to be sleeping. I'm not sure if he's actually doing that. It doesn't look like his eyes are closed enough. But anyway, now we are coming to the last track here, which is Tiny Arena. This is Tiny's home track. And this is by far one of the most challenging race tracks that you'll go to, and the longest racetrack in the entire circuit. It's pretty much like a motocross arena. It has a whole bunch of jumps as well as some mud that you have to go through. And it looks like it could be set in the future just by the what the buildings and everything look like. You know, that could just be the buildings that they used, but it definitely looks like it comes from Future Frenzy. As you look at the other buildings, and those neon lights of Tiny are actually his portrait from when he was from Crash 2 when he was a boss back then. It doesn't quite look, and I believe that's also the demo portrait that they used. The demo portraits look a lot different than they do now. You know, little changes here and there, and that's pretty cool. You can, I'll see if I can. I didn't want to waste this on Pura. Just using it on Pura. And you rarely see this, all the good guys or all the bad guys, depending on who you pick in the top 4. But that is pretty cool to see, and you can definitely tell a big difference between the good guys and the bad guys. The good guys look a lot more. Their colors are a lot more brighter and a lot more cheerful looking, and the bad guys are a lot use darker tones and just look a lot more, I guess, angrier, more evil, I guess you could say. This track is very easy to end up, if you miss a few jumps, miss a few boost, power slides, you will definitely end up falling pretty far behind, as you saw that I did. And for whatever reason, the enemies will get more missiles now. Once you get into the Glacier Park, you'll have to deal with a lot more missiles that the other racers can throw at you. So you have to be very careful about about that constant threat of having missiles fly, come at you. So that kind of gives you an added incentive to try and hurry. And you can just kind of see how long the laps are. I know I did really mess up the first lap, so that's why I got a 121. But consistently, you can run about 111 through high 111s through low 113s. It really just depends on how you can get through the track, whether or not you can get around 110. It's actually pretty difficult to get a 110, and that's not going to help. But you can see just how easy it is to throw a TNT off, and you do not want to get caught in the mud. That will slow you down for sure. While it's not a lap ruiner, it definitely does hurt. Getting caught on those little mini jumps, like I just did, definitely hurts as well. So you just have to always be prepared. Be always watching, so that you can not make mistakes and get caught in the mud and not get caught on these little jumps. Just anything you can do to help yourself out. And something that I haven't talked about, but that you have been able to see, that the field does freeze as soon as you pass the finish line. So that will kind of help you make sure, if you want a driver to finish in a certain spot, you can make them do that. While it doesn't matter, you don't get a bonus for having any one character finish all 16 of these races in the top 3. It's just something, I guess, cool you can do if you want to.
So, you've beaten all the other racers on these tracks. Well, now you'll see why I'm the most feared driver on the circuit. I'll earn the right to face Oxide by crushing you into brick dust. Let's race.
You can see Komodo Joe. This is also the first time that Komodo Joe has been voiced. Has a voice. They did neither Komodo Mo or Joe talked. While Mo did laugh, he didn't. Neither of them actually said any words. Now, Komodo Joe is definitely when the bosses will start to get harder. He has, I don't think his thing is actually speed, but he seems to be able to catch up to you and stay with you pretty easily. And something that I had forgotten to mention, but because I hadn't really heard it before, when you can hear when the mine carts are going over the tracks. They sound exactly like the conveyor belts from Crash 1, from Heavy Machinery and Castle Machinery. The noise that the conveyor belts made are the exact same noises used for the for when the mine carts go over the mine tracks. That was pretty cool. Just recognized it right now, listening to it, because I can, for whatever reason, hear it a little bit better than when I was doing the race a few moments ago. But yeah, Komodo Joe, definitely one of the hardest. What he does is he will throw the he uses both TNTs and nitros, and what he will do is he will throw the TNTs up in the air, and when they come down, they will explode, and the blast. And if you're not careful, the blast radius can actually catch you out and slow you down significantly. Then he will throw a nitro crate. It can also affect you as well. If you're not careful, you just have to be. You have to be very careful while going around through here. If you do get caught behind Joe, it definitely will hurt and will. It's pretty frustrating and can actually ruin your chances of being able to get ahead of him, just because it is so difficult to pass him once you get stuck behind him. But anyway. But yeah, past that, if you can get out ahead of him and stay ahead of him, at least for one lap, you can and try to pull a gap. You'll definitely make it a lot easier on yourself. And you can see he's crying.
You're not so slow after all. Surprised me you did. Here's a key for the win. Still, I think you're not fast enough to outrace Oxide. We're going to lose our planet, and it will all be your fault.
Alright, so that's Komodo Joe beaten, and now we will go and unlock the door here so that we can get into what is this place called? I don't remember off the top of my head. Citadel City, that's right. Okay. And I'm going to stop it here. I'll go ahead and end the video here. Talk about the trivia and everything, like I usually do for these racetracks. We'll start at Blizzard Bluff. Blizzard Bluff is a racetrack in CTR, like Polar Pass in the North Pole, is based on the snow-themed levels of Crash Bandicoot 2. And adventure mode can be found in Glacier Park and is in the red Gym Cup, along with Crash Cove, Mystery Caves, and Papu's Pyramid. In the Wumpa Cup, the track has icy patches which limit mobility and also increases speed, and a rolling boulder which squashes unlucky racers. The boulder can be avoided by power sliding around it. There are two large shortcuts on this track, the first being a large hole at the first icy patch, which can be jumped over with enough speed. Straight after this, to the left, there's a small fence which can be jumped over because of the high speed required for the first jump and the sharpness of the corner to the second. It is extremely difficult to do both on the same lap. Trivia: before Pinta Penguin was discovered back when CTR was first released, it was widely discussed whether this was Polar's second home track because of the track's snow theme, seeing that he had one that was clearly named after his name. Polar Pass, however, after the discovery of Pinta, it is now widely regarded as his home track and not Polar's. Blizzard Bluff's theme is a remix of Dingo Canyon. I guess I wasn't paying attention to the music, so I didn't pick that up. Dragon Mines is a race course in Crash Team Racing. It is raced on in the Crystal Cup and arcade mode, as well as the Crystal Cup and the purple with and the purple Gym Cup, it is Komodo Joe's home track, as well as the, I believe, the blue Gym Cup as well. I don't know why it's not mentioned here. At the start of the race, the player goes down a big hill past an underground lake and stalagmites. Next, the player encounters a minecart where minecarts might even hit the player. After that, a spiral bridge is ascending. More minecarts are at the top, and then the player arrives back to the starting line. It is possible to drive through the minecart route from before the spiral bridge to after, but without protection or turbos, the player will get squashed. In adventure mode, the course is located in the Glacier Park. It's also the boss stage of Komodo Joe. Trivia: the track is featured in the intro when Dingodile is trying to tune his cart. Some fans believe that this stage was once meant for Koala Kong, as he was fought in a mine in Crash Bandicoot. However, he isn't in the game. Polar Pass. Polar Pass is the 11th track in CTR, like the racetrack Blizzard Bluff and the Battle Arena of the North Pole. It is based on the snow-themed levels of Crash Bandicoot 2. It is Polar's home track and features seals as obstacles, as well as many jumps and patches of ice. There is a wall that can be jumped over, as well as several corners that can be cut. It features as the first race in the Crash Cup in the arcade, and the Green Gym Cup alongside Roost Tubes, Coco Park, and another track that we'll see here. The seal is the only enemy on Polar Pass, which will cause racers to spin around if they hit them. A polar bear can be seen frozen in ice on this track. It looks similar to the bears that chase Crash and Polar in Crash Bandicoot 2. I forgot to mention that as well. No trivia for this track, so we'll go to Tiny Arena. Tiny Arena is a race course. Just give me a moment. Alright, sorry about that. Anyway, Tiny Arena is a race course in Crash Team Racing. It is Tiny Tiger's home course and is raced on the Nitro Cup and the Yellow Gym Cup with Dingo Canyon and a few other racetracks. It's the longest track in the game. Racers start a small bump into a mud pit infested area. Characters who cruise into the mud will sink in the ground. Neon pictures of Tiny appear next. Racers go through a turn, past the wall, around a mudslide, under a tunnel, around the bend, past the corner, through the mud, and into the home stretch. It's also considered one of the hardest tracks in the game because of the bumps and sharp corners. The background is similar to Slide Coliseum, a turbo track in adventure mode. It is in the Glacier Park inside an igloo. Much like Tiny Tiger hit his track, Tiny Arena isn't very tiny at all. In fact, it takes the most time to complete out of all the tracks in the game. Tiny Arena is similar in appearance and gimmicks to Wario Stadium for the Mario Kart series. So that was the trivia for it. And so we'll talk about Komodo Joe's boss fight. In CTR only, Komodo Joe is present. He appears as the third boss. His home track is Dragon Mines. In adventure mode, he races against Stu for the right-faced Oxide. He constantly drops TNT and Nitro Crates to stop you. When he is defeated, he gives you the third of the 4 keys used to reach Oxide. Joe's stats are 4 out of 5, 4 out of 5, and 4 out of 5 for speed, acceleration, and turning. So he's an all-around, but he's a lot better than Crash and Cortex. But anyway, so thank you for watching. The challenge of the video is how many minecarts did I pass in both times that I was in Dragon Mines. Thank you for watching. Next time we will be in the Citadel City. So until then, later everyone.